Hello there. I'm kind of on time today. I was trying to make an intro video and I was just not successful in doing it in time. How are you, Brett? Just chilling. Well, I mean, you're in Canada, so I mean, it probably is cold. I'm still trying to wake up and get my brain and my body functioning. Eventually, hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be used to doing these, so it'll just become kind of second nature. But cutting things down to the wire is something I've got to, stop doing. uh, See if I can get a few more people in here before we start. Just doing a few things on a few different screens. So, what do you have planned for this lovely day that everybody spends far too much money on? You're working today. Oh, well, I mean, that's not a huge loss because this is, the day that everybody figures out how much their love is worth. Hoping the drunks at work are generous on this. Oh, geez. Aren't drunks generous by nature because they don't know what they're doing until the next morning when they sober up? Yeah, and actually, there are a lot of the younger generation that I don't think would understand that reference. I remember when I was growing up, there was actually a legitimate Hallmark store in the mall closest to my house, and I mean, it was fun to go in there, but when you had the specific holidays, you never wanted to touch that store. Like, you could not survive in that store. Um, we got rid of ours probably, I think, sometime when I was a teenager. I'd have to ask people back up in New York, but I think we got rid of it when I was still a teenager Yeah, it is the worst cash grab. And the one thing that I don't think people understand about Valentine's Day is that it's not the origins of it are not actually about love and, all this mushy stuff. Can you still hear me and see me? I just got a notice on my screen that the stream was messed up. Hey, read out. But yeah, I forgot where I was now because of that warning that popped up. But yeah, I would never go into a Hallmark store during holidays. Um but yeah, Valentine's Day doesn't actually have the lovey-dovey, mushy bullshit history that everybody thinks it does. Um Corporatism and, money hungry people turned it into that. And it blows me away because what I remember about Valentine's Day and its actual origins, there was somebody, I think he was known as Saint Valentine, and there was a massacre on a specific day, and they called it the Saint Valentine's Day Massacre. I think that's what it or the origin of it is. So it blows me away that people in corporate. Yes, okay, so I was right. People in the corporate world profiting off of that and trying to make people think that it's all about this, "Oh, show somebody how much you love them." I mean, as the thumbnail for the episode said, holidays in general now are nothing more than a cash grab. But I think okay. I'm trying to remember where the Saint Valentine reference came in though. Wow. Um Saint- Readout was Capone involved in that considering Chicago and the time frame? Cuz I know a decent amount about Capone, but I'm trying to figure out if that was his era. Yeah, most likely. Um but it's just as far as what Valentine's Day has morphed into today, and I have the same kind of outlook on marriage. I don't think that it's necessary to spend exorbitant amounts of money to show somebody that you love them. And on the other side of that, with the marriage aspect, I don't think that it's necessary to have a piece of paper to prove that you love somebody, because really what marriage does is it brings the government into your bedroom. That's really all it does. It was originally a Christian feast day named Saint Valentine, honoring Christian martyr named Oh, okay. So I was kind of right. I just was a little backwards. It's still up in the air who the perpetrators were, but some were reported to have been wearing police uniforms. That's not surprising. Thus begging the question, was it gangsters incognito or actually bribed officers? Um in that era, yeah, I can see where the confusion would be, because I wouldn't even be able to say for sure. Um but for both of you, obviously, because you guys are in here, what is what is the most you've spent on somebody, or somebody has spent on you, whether it be for Valentine's Day or any holiday in general? Emperor Claudius II executed two men, both named Valentine, on February 14th of different years in the 3rd century. Their martyrdom was honored by the Catholic Church with the celebration of Saint Valent or Saint Valentine. I don't know. I think the origins of holidays as we see them now are kind of like the stories that Disney adapts. The stories that Disney adapts into these magical, flashy little ungodly sickening stories that they put out are actually have very dark, sinister origins, and it's all to capitalize and make money, and I don't understand it. Also, something that I learned probably 10, 15 years ago, the shape, and obviously if you know anatomy, you know this is true, but the shape of what we know as the hearts that we see for Valentine's Day obviously are not the shape of the human heart. But I'm wondering, do either of you know what that shape, like what inspired that shape of heart for Valentine's Day? You guys don't know what it or what inspired that shape? You're gonna laugh when I tell you. And, obviously being at the level I'm at, I've been able to confirm this. It actually originated because of the shape of a girl's ass. I mean, why do you think that Valentine's Day is so marketed to females, or in favor of females? There was got to be a reason behind it, you know, behind, no pun intended, but kind of intended. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Read out was something said in the Gilded chat earlier about, was it in there that they said something about um how today makes, single people feel lonely? Was that in there? Oh, great. That's going to be stuck in my head all day. Mm. So I've accumulated, I didn't see anything like that, but I've heard a zillion people say that. Yeah, okay. So it might have been in there, it might not have been. Um, Over the last 2 months, I've accumulated some very interesting books, um, which was part of the reason I kind of started this. I that's gonna fall. I got the idea to start this because of all the information I have in these books. They're just fun ones. I've got the official dictionary of sarcasm. I've got the fun knowledge encyclopedia, uh, the quotable asshole, more than 1,200 bitter barbs, uh, cutting comments and caustic comebacks. We could use those in the server readout. And then true facts that sound like bullshit. Um, Out of all of these, I was actually looking in the sarcasm book because it's literally a dictionary, so it's obviously separated into letters. And I found one that actually talks about Valentine's Day. Let's see if I can. Oh shit! So I'm gonna read that to you guys because I thought it was pretty funny. Oh, maybe it was in the book that I read it. Says Valentine's Day, celebrated annually on February 14th. This is a special day to honor romance. It is calculated to make you feel yeah, it's calculated to make you feel like a total scumbag if you do not declare your affection for your beloved in some prescribed materialistic way, or and make you feel like a total loser if you don't have a beloved on whom you dump your affection in a prescribed materialistic way. So I thought that was pretty funny that just, they summed it up very well. Um, but yeah, like the reason that I kind of generalized it on the thumbnail as far as holidays being nothing but a cash grab is when I was little, my grandmother absolutely loved Christmas, and she has since passed back in 2008. And even though I'm not much for, you know, I don't mind giving gifts. I'm a little weird when people give me things. It's just awkward for me, I suppose. But because Christmas was something that was connected to my grandmother, I still enjoy it to a certain degree. But I think about the money spent when I was a kid versus now. And the things, if I were a kid today, the things that I would want that I had when I was a kid, I think are at least 3 times the price. Exchanging Valentine's Day cards in elementary school. Yep, I remember that. Uh, that's the last time I ever had an emotional attachment to Valentine's Day. I can't really say that I've ever had an emotional attachment to it. I don't really know if I understood the concept of the Valentine's Day cards in school. It was kind of just mandatory. Like teachers expected the kids to ask their parents to go out and buy Valentine's Day cards to exchange with everybody. It's like, and I think that's why I never really connected with the holiday, because it's just like you're asking a bunch of kids to essentially at that level do something semi-romantic, I suppose. It's just weird to me. Still had fun though, because candy, yeah, candy, yeah, that was the big thing for us. Or if I remember correctly, none of us were considering romantic ramifications. Yeah, I think in today's environment, I think that they would push the more romantic stuff on the kids because we all know what, they like to try and teach in schools today. But I think that we had it easy in the sense that it was just something fun to do, I suppose. And yeah, the candy. They ask you not to put the other kids' names. I don't know. Maybe my brain's not comprehending what you guys are saying. You're not supposed to put your name, or I'm really confused. Because I would think that you would put your name so they know who they got the Valentine from, but I'm guessing you don't put. I remember being that kid not everybody gave one to back when they didn't require the whole class. Oh, that's a now thing. Cause see, it was confusing me, how you guys were kind of phrasing that, because I remember when we were kids, or when I was a kid at least, um, we would put our classmates' names on the card and then sign them. I was out of the public school system right before the plague. So my class are the last ones, sane ones to come out of those. Read out, how old are you? Because now you got me curious. Like, for some reason, I always assume that the people I'm talking to online in any way are around my age, especially if they are able to carry on a conversation. Every single card was the same. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, bro. I never thought about that. It's like, um, with the themed, like, I'll just use Marvel for, an example. If with a Marvel themed box of uh Valentine's Day cards, say you gave one with Thor on it to somebody, but they really liked another character, and then another student got that character. I get you. I think that's where you guys are going with that. Old enough to drink. That's what's important. Yeah, I can agree with that. God, I feel old. I just turned 38. Brett, you're closer to my age, right? Or at least closer to your 30s. Oh, okay, so kind of entered. You just entered the fight. But yeah, I don't know. I probably would have a different outlook on holidays like this if I was actually in a relationship with somebody. Uh, but even then, where I am now in life, I would probably look for somebody that has the same general outlook as I do, when it comes to holidays. Kind of, take it or leave it sort of thing. We'll do something interesting, kind of either before or after the holiday. Because I don't know. See, I didn't understand love languages until probably 3, 4 years ago, but I've never heard somebody say that their love language changes from person to person. That's something I've never heard. I know, and maybe this is where being jaded toward holidays comes. Up until I was probably, did I say holiday? I probably did. My brain's scrambled. Um, I think my being jaded towards holidays, especially ones that are very capitalistic in nature now, is the fact that up until about 25, I think, yeah, somewhere around there, I was very much the type of person to go out of my way to get things for anybody I could think of. And boy, was that stupid. Because, and this is actually the first, broad statement I'm making about this. Um, I realize now because of a project that I'm in the middle of right now, I realize looking back at my actions towards other people and constantly feeling like I had to get everybody something. It was what they call a parasocial relationship. I kind of saw myself not in a relationship by definition, but I kind of imagined a stronger connection with these people than I really had, and I never really understood why. Um, you know, people older than me at the time would say, "Oh, you're just a nice person, that's how you are." But I noticed pretty soon after that when I was doing something for other people, it wasn't really reciprocated. And I know that they say when you do something nice for somebody, you shouldn't expect anything in return. But there comes a time where you realize that even though you don't expect anything in return, it's still possible for them to be manipulating you. And I realized that's what was happening. And being the project that I'm involved in right now, that kind of brought me to, the information about parasocial relationships, I look back and I'm like, what friendships did I have that were actual friendships versus ones that I thought were friendships? Uh, yeah, a lot of, whether it was romantic or platonic, a lot of relationships v- really suffered over the last 3 years. Um, but Britt, I know you know about this. Read out. I don't think I've talked about it in the server too much, but I'm in the process right now of writing a movie script, and it has to do with a podcast host who who has frequently gone to um, Comic Con, and he's meeting all of these celebrities. He's having great conversations with them, and so he starts a podcast as a way to thank these people that he's met throughout his life that have had an impact on him, and he's telling these stories about them. And somebody close to him that is a listener of the podcast, um, ends up becoming very jealous because this person wants to be the center of attention of this main character podcast host. So what he does is goes around and basically targets all of these people that the podcast host talks about in his episodes. And I it's weird what this movie script has morphed into because I never saw myself writing a movie script because it wasn't even something in my wheelhouse. But especially something like this, because it's not really something that is I can't really say it's not something I'm not interested in, but it's weird that I'm writing it, I guess. It just doesn't seem real to me yet. Um, as far as the horror genre, though, my going back to my grandmother, she was the one from a young age, when I was a young age, would watch horror movies with me. Nothing that was, extreme, but I think I have an appreciation for horror movies now because of always watching them over at grandma's house. A little bit like social media based Ricochet. I don't know that movie, but I'm gonna check it out. Just the name alone sounds interesting. Uh, but yeah, grandma would watch the strangest um, horror movies, and I was never really bothered by them. I sat there interested in them. So I think doing this, especially since it kind of is related to something that happened in real life. I kind of got the idea from something that happened in real life. Um, but what the script is morphing into is something that is completely disconnected from the original idea or what sparked the original idea. And I'm extremely excited to finish it, be able to raise the money to, do the auditioning of people, the hiring and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be fun. We're going to film it here in Virginia. I've already got locations picked out. Um, the only thing right now is we have to raise money for the budget for obviously hiring people, um, the time that we're going to spend on it. So I think doing these live streams hopefully will grow an audience and I'll be able to start procuring money for the budget that way. Denzel Washington, John Lithgow, directed by the man who made The Highlander. I haven't seen The Highlander, but I'm familiar with it in a certain way. Lithgow sets out to ruin Washington's life. See, and I love both of those guys, Lithgow and Denzel Washington. Uh, but yeah, yeah, a lot going on. Got a movie script. I got a product that I'm developing that is extremely out in left field. Um, that hopefully I'll be able to have a prototype for the summer. Uh, I just it feels good to be able to be creative and kind of steer my brain into that area. Yeah, I understand that, Brett. I remember when friends of mine used to say that their job wasn't cutting it for them. We used to tell them to go out to the closest corner and show a little leg. That'll probably get me kicked off YouTube. um, and then some of those friends ended up living on corners, so it wasn't really a far cry for them to you know go to that corner. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I'm I gotta get used to these things. I mean, granted, I know it's only the second one that I've done, so hopefully by the end of the week I'll be used to it, but I gotta be a little bit more put together. So people I used to hang out with either used to be like, you can always work the corner or go work River Street. See, and where I grew up, it was always you go work South Street. Wow. It's funny how there are similarities in everyone's story of life, but there's those very unique, minuscule differences. I like that. Sad thing is, the people that are back up where I grew up, I s- I know that there's so much potential with them, but I don't think they have the drive to get the hell out of New York to really apply themselves to even just experiencing life. Uh, yeah, we won't. I don't know that I'll go into that story on here. Um, I'm sure that there'll come a time where I'll have a rant that is a little bit more current events story based. Um, I mean, I guess yesterday and today were current events, but yeah, I don't know about news stories. Talking about that, I gotta have something that really catches my eye. Um, yeah, I mean, I will say in regard to the Ohio situation, the most I will say is that I'm not following the news about it, but I am following certain creators on TikTok who have been taking video of what's been going on. So it's interesting to watch it all play out. But so I think this one is going to be a short one just because my brain is all over the place and it's hard to, get it into focus. But I'm hoping as we progress with this that, I'll have more content to talk longer and eventually uh, have people jump in and join me on the live stream to actually have a conversation about the things that I decide to talk about. I don't know how far out I'm going to plan certain topics. Obviously, these first two were kind of just off the cuff, trying to figure them out. So uh, I might be a little bit more dialed in next time I try to find a topic. But I appreciate you guys coming in, and definitely like and share the video. Um, Hopefully, even on the replay, people will watch it and become interested in it and suggest other things that I can talk about, because I think this is going to be something that's going to be fun for me to do in the mornings. It'll actually give me some energy. But I do have to get ready to spend the day with some family and, do some things outside of the apartment. But I will see you guys tomorrow morning, same time, and I'll try to be either early or on time tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow.